First, you must realize that you have no idea before you can know the idea. We scan across all the frequencies if we want to learn anything new. Let us begin.
What has physics done for me lately? Second more, the equation E is equal mc squared. We have now acquired a fateful power to alter and to destroy nature. That's like when you're in physics and you go to a dream world saying, this is a physics excursion. Science, what is it all about? The whole of human history all falls in the dust of one stroke of a nail file. You can't really get to grips with evolution unless you realise what an enormous amount of time our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
We're going analog today, are we?
Yeah. You tune into what can only be described as the best radio station on this blue dot we call Earth. It is, of course, 4ZZZ, connecting and amplifying voices of our community, be it on your conventional wireless radio by tuning into the classic frequency of 102.1 FM, digital devices such as DAB or smart speaker, listening via the Community Radio Plus app, or streaming us live from our sensational website at 4zzz.org.au. And of course, you can always listen back to our show or any 4ZZZ show for that matter using the ingenious on-demand feature also found at that URL. We also now have a weekly podcast of the show for your listening pleasure, curated by Toby, a condensed version of the show without the music, which my mum prefers. Just search for our show name, which is, of course, No Idea, spelt with a K, your weekly dose of science. And joining me today to deliver some gold standards of science during this Radiothon 2025, may I please introduce our friendly neighbourhood marine scientist, Peta.
Good morning, everybody.
And the master himself. Good morning, Gabe.
Good morning, Max. And thank you, Toby, for all your work.
Toby!
I was wondering if I say Tobes or Toby. And I thought,
got stuck halfway. It's funny because you plan every single word of the introduction out, so maybe you've got to start planning out the intonation as well, just so you nail that too.
Exactly, true. Okay, it's Radiothon. We want to get some 50 subscribers.
Years.
50 years.
50 years of 4ZZZ, Max. And yes, we need subscribers over the next... This is our only show in the whole Radiothon period. Which is the big subscriber drive that keeps 4ZZZ on air every year.
And so we're competitive. We're very competitive.
We are.
And I think our record was 36. Cool. That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, shooting for.
So over the next 2 hours is all we can do to pull our weight and keep 4ZZZ on air, which means we need people like you listening to subscribe to 4ZZZ.
And you'll know when that happens because we play a special sound on our show when people subscribe. But we help, we do something, we celebrate, unlike some other shows.
Should we preempt it or not?
Preempt it. Let's see. This is the sound you're going to hear when someone subscribes.
There you go.
A lovely baby harp seal.
A baby harp seal in extreme psychological pain. It's a part of this show and we will not be taking it out.
50 years of Z, Max, and 12 and a half years of No Idea on 4ZZZ.
Really? Okay. And how long have we been doing it for? 6 years or so?
About that, yeah.
Good God.
I know.
I'm sorry, Brisbane. What a time.
We're talking about the world here, Peter. The world listens to our show.
The world listens to 4ZZZ. You're so right, but Brisbane is close to our hearts.
It's very close.
And our radio waves.
Are we going to talk about what we're going to talk about during the show, or are we just going to...
Yeah. Well, I've got... So
we have a special.
We've gone 50 years back into the past, Max. Why not?
We have,
50 years of Z. What was happening in the world of science 50 years ago?
Some crazy things.
Some great stuff.
Some titles that they put out there that you really wonder, wow, that was a thing to say at the time.
So I've got a study, Max, on whether you can memorize things better in circumstances if you are learning and recalling them underwater.
Really?
You said that it wasn't marine-based.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is towing the line, young man.
It's on the line.
It's towing the line.
It's on the line, but I'll allow it.
You allow it? That's not your call to make.
What do you got, Peter?
I'm actually not going to tell you what I have because they're two very interesting and important stories, and there's guessing games in the start of every single one of them.
And I'll be discussing the controversial Monty Hall problem. Do you know about that one?
Oh, yes.
Very good.
Yes, a big thing.
Which came out in 1975. So it's no secret that the motor rap is a somewhat divisive segment.
Yes, within the team.
Yeah, but from
one person, me, does not like it.
But it does tick the box, the STEM box, and like science.
Does it?
Yes.
Where?
Science,
when do we talk about it?
Science, technology, engineering, and motorsport.
And when do we... Oh, right. See, we've changed the acronym.
STEM.
You got me right before I riled up. I was going to get so angry at the idea that you talked about engineering.
But because it's Radiothon, I'm going to set the bar pretty high on this one. If we get 15 or more subs during the first hour, I will forego the motor rap for this week.
Please do it for me. Please. Even just 1 week where I don't have to talk about motorsports or listen to I don't talk about motorsports. Listen to motorsports. Please, dear listeners, we know you're there. Please.
Let's do it.
Do this for us. Do this for 4ZZZ.
As you may have heard, this radio station you're listening to has been going for 50 years. We have 4 months worth of celebrations planned, starting with our extra special 50th birthday Radiothon. So join the party and celebrate 50 years of Z in your head. The best birthday present you can get us is subscribing to the station. Visit 4zzz.org.au and subscribe.
So you tune into 4ZZZ during Radiothon. The show is No Idea with me, Max. Issy.
Good morning. Hello.
Peta.
Good morning.
Gabe. It's Kev. Kev from Thornside.
Number one.
Number one. Lucky sub number one. Come on, let's go to 15, everybody. I know we can do it. We're science.
What do you got for us, Peta?
Okay, what's one thing that you were almost guaranteed to find in the ocean?
Water.
Fish? Both good answers, almost guaranteed. Water, I'd say pretty much guaranteed. Actually, you've really got that one. Water, yeah.
Salt.
Hard not to find. Salt, hard not to find. Anything else? Plastic, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of plastic.
A lot of plastic. Ding, 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 ding. There we go. Here's the plastic, something you find anywhere in the ocean.
Yeah.
Mariana Trench, everywhere. And it turns out we've been seeing it since 1975.
Yes.
That
yes,
is
true.
right, everybody.
Yeah.
I tracked down the first scientific record of people finding plastic in the ocean. And I haven't really done much more than that. I just want to read some of the bits of this article to you. This was published in Nature in 1975. And it's a very different style of, scientific recording. It's basically just a story, kind of, that they tell.
Yeah.
It's a very short story.
Yeah.
So, fishermen from Smogden, Sweden, I'm assuming it's pronounced Smogden, if it isn't, I apologise, have remarked that when they trawl along the bottom of the Skagerack, they almost invariably collect sheets of plastic in their nets. So this isn't just that they found it, it's that they couldn't not pull up plastic when they were trawling.
Really?
It was it was pervasive even in 1975. So that shows us that it was definitely there before then. This was just the first scientific recording of it. So some of the films got analysed because they were thin plastic films. It wouldn't be like what we think of today. We've made a lot of plastic in the world since then. They're thin sheets of plastic. And they were analysed using infrared spectrometry and gel permeation chromatography. So these films were found at depths varying between 180 and 400 metres deep in the ocean. So that's already pretty deep for that day. And the analysis shows that the film consists of low-density polyethylene plastic. And so they were really interested in this, and they were like, oh, that's really weird. And they found out that there was some pronounced degradation, which was because they had been exposed to sunlight and air and water. So they'd been there for a while, and they'd become brittle. And they also were interested because they'd become covered in biological material, which we know today when you find plastic in the ocean, it's usually covered in something. Little barnacles, little worms, things like that find it and use it as a home. But back in the day, there was a pretty astounding thing to find out. And they thought it was really interesting. They found that the biological material was calcareous, meaning essentially they had a shell, biozoan, so those little worms I was talking about. And they found out that it was present in amounts which corresponded to a growth time of 3 to 4 months, which again is presented as whoa, this plastic's been here for 3 to 4 months sort of thing. Whereas now it would be yes, I found plastic from 1950. Whoa. Yeah. And then the facts that these films were discovered at great depths, although they already had a density, they thought that they should have floated, but they were oh, it's weird, so they should have floated, but they've been here long enough. Thank you very much. That's
another subscriber.
Plastic. No, I don't think you love plastic. I They do suggest a possible hypothesis to explain the findings. And I'm going to quote directly here. First, the material floats for a while on the surface where it is exposed to sunlight so that it becomes degraded. At some point, the bryozoa begin to grow on the material, weighing it down so that it slowly sinks towards the pinocline. The material stops at this level and lithoderma starts to grow on it. This is another type of animal. Eventually, the film will weigh enough to sink to the bottom. And then they end this article by saying, the investigation presented here stresses a problem that arises when plastics are thrown into the sea by ships. And then it says, my favourite line, plastics are used on ships as cargo wrappings and as ordinary plastic bags. Like they have to explain what the plastic is used for. They're like, oh, by the way, you'll see plastic here because people use it on ships and things. Large sheets thrown overboard are not only a potential hazard to the propellers of smaller ships, but also cause trouble to fishermen who get them into their trawls. Furthermore, the films must also be considered a source of pollution. Now, that I think is actually interesting because later in 1975, the UN met for their first, I think it was called the Global Sea Dumping Treaty. Essentially, they met for the first time to talk about stopping people from dumping things at sea. And of course, that wasn't only plastic or rubbish, but lots of other things. So I kind of wonder whether that article in Nature was then being like, oh, we should also stop just chucking plastic in the sea. Because they would just chuck it. They'd be like,
rubbish,
okay, well, we're done with this now, throw it in the sea. But of course, now we know that if you found plastic in the sea, it is not actually that likely that it came directly from a ship. It can be, but there's a lot of it is, but not all of it. Like, plenty of stuff comes from the land too. You can't just say, I found it in the ocean, therefore someone threw it off a boat. Not really how it works. But it did back in the day. So thank you, Sweden, for raising the alarm. Do I wish we'd had some sort of impact earlier? Yeah. But really interesting to see that it was already, quote, invariable in 1975.
And 50 years later, the world is meeting to discuss a global plastics treaty that will probably fail in about 2 days' time when the talks finish.
Yes.
What a great way to start the show. It's so positive.
It is Radiothon. What prizes have we got, Issy?
Oh, my God. We have prizes for everyone if you want. We have a Triffid Gold ticket available, Princess Theatre ticket, free entry, 5-star Cinema Golden ticket as well. I will fight anyone who picked that because I picked that when I subscribed during Rhinestone Cowgirl yesterday.
You pick this every year?
I pick this every year and I'm going to keep picking it until I get it.
Can I tell you what I'm picking this year?
What are you
As
picking?
your friendly neighbourhood marine scientist, I am picking the Tangaluma Sea.
I was just looking at that as well.
I used to go to Tangaluma all the time and I love it. It's so beautiful. There's lovely reefs there. You can go snorkeling. I highly recommend picking that
Quad
package.
bikes.
Except don't, because I want it.
The other one that I was going to pick is the Crumpler Summer Swag Pack. If you don't know, if you are a subscriber, you get 10% off in Crumpler in the city. So if you're looking for a brand new bag, Crumpler is here to hook you up. When you subscribe to 4ZZZ at 4ZZZ.org.au/support. If you hate technology, you can also ring in. Our reception is, let me find it, 3252 155 55, or come visit us at Barry Parade as well. We've got folks downstairs who are ready to take your money and turn it into warm inner glow. Brilliant. What are we playing now, Max?
Well, before we do that, I was listening to Zedgeist yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
And Jack and Lucy were riffing a bit at the end of the show, and this was what transpired.
We love all the subscribers coming in, and as they come in, the vibes will just grow exponentially at a rate
Warm Inner Glow will be, bursting from the seams of this building.
No Idea is currently doing an experiment finding out what's the limit of exponentiality of Warm Inner Glow and vibes. So that's what we're looking towards.
Great.
So clearly that was news to us that the No Idea was doing experiments. So what I threw it over.
What do you mean, Max? I've been working on that for months.
Dude, come on, it's an embargo. Come on.
Yeah. But I threw it on.
I can't talk about it yet.
I threw it to our AI team to respond.
Jack and Luce, as requested, we have done the experiment.
We must point out that our results have yet to be peer-reviewed.
However, No Idea can conclude, with some confidence, that as the exponential function tends to infinity,
there is no actual limit when it comes to the amount of warm inner glow and vibes emanating out of 4ZZZ, especially during Radiothon.
Job done.
Nice.
Did you know that only 2% of monthly listeners of 4ZZZ are subscribers? Subscriptions make up a vast majority of funds that we use to keep the station going. So if you're a listener but not a subscriber, please consider subscribing this Radiothon. You might even win a prize. So head to 4ZZZ.org.au and subscribe today.
You tune into 4ZZZ. It's Radiothon. The show is No Idea. Your weekly dose of science.
Hell yes.
A passionate subscriber.
Woo!
Oh, done. So, yes, well done. We've got Jack in the room.
We do have Jack, our station manager. The boss is in the room.
It taking over the baby harp seal role for us this show, so that's good, isn't it?
That was fantastic.
Stay right there the entire 2 hours. To make that sound.
Just waiting, just looking at the light.
Have it queued.
Just waiting for the light to flash. Exactly. Okay, we'll get back into this as soon as I get there. Cheers up, Gabe.
Station manager in the room, Max. You're going all clammed up. If you
I do want the show renewed.
Really high stakes.
So,
it was Kirk from... Sorry. Kirk from Coolangatta.
Is that third or fourth?
Fourth.
And we had Helena from Butterham.
Thank you, both of you.
Yeah.
One step closer to
50 years of Z.
Yeah.
We've gone back to 1975. So to look at some science from 50 years ago. And there's so many uni courses out there that love basing, like intro uni courses that will base a lot of their teaching off studies from around this time.
You can say psychology, it's okay.
And particularly the psychology, memory, learning sort of space.
So it was my entire first year was just going through old studies, and then they'd be like, hey, but guess what? We don't believe this anymore.
If you've gone through some sort of textbook or maybe even like YouTube course or a first year uni course on one of those topics, psych, memory, learning, you've probably heard about an experiment by Godden and Baddeley.
Oh, so God.
They were based...
Godden.
No, Godden.
They were based out of the University of Stirling, which obviously didn't have a QS ranking in 1975, but does now in 2026. Do you want to take a guess?
Oh, God, I didn't do this.
Where from?
Sterling.
Sterling.
UK.
Okay.
Oh, okay. 78.
102.
120.
517.
Damn.
UK bias.
This experiment by these two psychologists came out in 1975, of course, which is the same year as this wonderful radio station. But what they did was...
Oh, it's the best part of the show.
It's so good.
What they did was pretty wild. They're trying to see... this is going to be the hardest slog I think I've ever had on radio. They were trying to see this idea of context-dependent memory. Are you better at recalling something, remembering something, if in the same context that you learnt it?
Oh, I use this.
And so what they did a really extreme version of this where they had 16 divers, scuba divers, and they split them into 4 groups of 4. 4 of them were put underwater, told to memorize some words, taken out of the water onto land and told to recall them. 4 of them...
How many words?
4 of them were put into about 36, I think. Okay, 4 of them were put into underwater, told to memorize words and then told to recall them still underwater or back underwater. 4 were kept on dry land to learn the words and then had to recall them underwater. And 4 of them were kept on dry land to learn the words and then recalled the words back on land again. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. So we've got every... So we're switching everyone around, and they were deep. They were like 7 meters deep in cold, open water for most of it. Some of them, I think, were in a pool because they had to fix some of the data afterwards. But that was the experiment, right? They make them try and learn all these words, either underwater or on land, and then are they better at recalling it in the same or a different environment? And what they found was a pretty strong effect that you are much better at recalling those words, so your memory seems to be better if you're in the same context. Even if that was, underwater scuba diving, than if you're in a different context, like on dry land. Context-dependent memory, it's called. But is this real? Would you really perform better on an underwater test if you had studied underwater? Like so many of these classical psychological studies, no one replicated it for years.
Yeah, okay.
I volunteer. I volunteer as a I love tests and I love being underwater.
Yeah.
This sounds like my perfect
You
time.
want to do all your uni exams underwater, didn't you, Peter?
That would be fantastic. I will say, just to interject, I actually used this methodology when I was studying for exams in university.
Yeah.
I used to spray a single perfume and I would listen. This is the crazy bit. I would listen to the same song on repeat every single hour I was studying for like a really hard exam. And then in the exam, if I got stuck, I would hum the song to myself.
And try and bring that
and
context
it would
back.
bring the context back.
Right.
It was really useful.
Okay.
Highly recommend. It does drive you crazy, but it works.
I was hoping you said you'd rock up with a full scuba outfit on.
I have threatened to do that before. I've threatened to do it again.
You have to walk in backwards with the flipper, so that's...
So according to some correspondence of one of those original authors, Baddeley, a couple of reasons why it may not have been replicated. One was just that maybe people tried, and then because the replication failed, journals didn't want to publish it. It's a constant issue. Could be that people just couldn't get funding to replicate it. And it's also just logistically very difficult to get 16 or more divers on board to do this and then get them moving in and out of different conditions. All sorts of OH&S, all sorts of stuff going on. So all sorts of reasons why it might not have. But then, 46 years later, in 2021, some researchers tried to redo the experiment to see if they got the same result. So it was led by a guy called Jaap Meur from the University of Amsterdam. QS ranking in 2025 is?
The
2026 ranking.
250.
600.
53.
Damn it.
So they used similar methods to the original study. They recruited 16 divers. Unlike the original study, they had a range of ages. The original study was on undergrads, like so many psych studies.
Always. Chuck them in.
16 divers, 10 men, 6 women, and they did the same thing. So 4 of them, split them into 4 groups of 4, and they got the different treatment. Wet to wet, wet to dry, dry to wet, dry to dry. For when they had to learn all these words and when they had to repeat them. They also had an extra participant there from a Dutch TV show who was filming a program.
Nice.
Hell yes.
So they did note that maybe there was a bit of an effect that there was a TV crew filming everything that may have impacted stuff a bit. But they tried to mimic it as clearly as possible. So they picked out 180 Dutch words that had 2 syllables.
Dutch words.
Right,
God.
so we've already gone from English to Dutch.
Amazing. I'm loving the variation.
I know.
There's no voice left after
Baby
this.
Harp Seal's losing its voice. They picked out 180 Dutch words that had 2 syllables and were roughly as commonly used as each other. They're about 5 or 6 letters long. And then here's what happened. When the divers went underwater, an underwater sound system played out recordings. There's a reason I need to talk you through the specific methodology because it was the coincidence of this is crazy. The divers went underwater sound system played out a recording. The first recording was there to get the divers in a comfortable breathing pattern. Do you want to guess at what they did?
To get them in a breathing pattern.
What word they said to try, just like a nothing word they said on repeat to get them calm and set for the experiment?
Water.
They said
water.
Zet, which is the Dutch letter for Z.
Oh, well
Nice.
played.
Nice. 3 times.
Yeah.
Nice.
They said it multiple times.
Relevant.
So they played and they read out Zet or spoke out Zet in these speaker systems multiple times, and then they played them recordings of 3 words to remember, then a 4-second break, then 3 more words, then a 4-second break, onwards and onwards until they reached 36 words in total.
That's a lot of words.
They then had a 10-second pause before doing the whole thing again. So the Zets happen again, and then they get all the 36 words again. So they've heard all of them twice, and then once the second round was done, there was another 10-second pause, after which 15 random digits were read out, where the divers had to write down on an underwater writing pad, or not underwater if they weren't underwater, what they'd been given. Do you want to take a guess at why they had to write down digits? This was not related to the experiment or what they were testing?
To test whether their slates were working, because slates can sometimes not be very...
Well, they weren't using the slates for the memorization. The reason they had these numbers writing out was to wipe out what they call...
immediate memory.
Yeah, the primary memory effects. So they had to give them something that occupies sort of the front of their mind,
so you don't, like, when you're trying to memorize a phone number or something and then someone tells you something and you just go 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 in the front of your mind. It's getting rid of that.
Yes, trying to get rid of that so they can just test recall. So that whole process was then replicated for the people in the water and the people on the dry land, and then half of them swapped. And then they had to do, 4 minutes later, they had 2 minutes to write down as many of the words as they could remember. So you've got, the whole experiment going on. It was all done on the same day. What they found was really interesting. For a start, their participants overall were worse than the participants in 1975 at memorizing stuff.
Yeah.
It's
All
just
sorts
social
of
media
reasons.
running our brains.
All sorts of reasons that could be behind that, including brain rot, sure. But they also found they could not find the same effect, that you are better at remembering something if you learn it if you recall it in the same context you learnt it. So that
Maybe it's because the people underwater were getting distracted by all the beautiful fish.
Maybe.
this was done in a pool, this repeat.
I take that back.
1.8 metre deep pool, heated pool. And so they found the people who learnt stuff in the dry conditions were better overall.
Really?
And there was no impact of,
I guess because you're
learning
not
in the dry,
distracted by
remembering in the dry.
thinking about breathing.
What about if they upped the study and did it from skydiving point of view?
Skydiving?
I don't think you'd have enough time. You'd be shouting words.
That's a very expensive exam recall strategy. Very expensive study strategy.
Yeah.
So they failed to replicate the same results. That's not to say that the context-dependent memory isn't real.
Yeah.
There's plenty of evidence to show that it has been established. There was another review that came out a few years, or about 10 years ago actually, that looked into, maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, it was 2001. It was ages ago.
Yeah.
They found this context-dependent memory does exist. Like, it's a thing. There's evidence behind it beyond this one study. So this isn't to say that context-dependent memory doesn't exist. There were lots of differences in this study. Yeah, and there was all sorts of procedural differences between this and the other one. Thank you for subscribing.
Thank you so much.
How many are we on now?
About 8.
7.
Nice.
That's just alrighty. And so we can't say the big finding from this wasn't that context-dependent memory isn't true or is true. We know it's there. The first study was the first big one to publicise it as an idea. The thing that I think is most important from this is just how important replication is to science. Doing things again and seeing what the result is.
And
because
funding that.
It's such a core part of what science is, but it so often isn't. And there's this moment that I want to read to you from the paper in 2021 where they talk about trying to get this published. Because he says one reviewer did not believe a study is worth replicating just because it's famous. And two memory psychology journals rejected the paper outright because it was a replication that did not advance our knowledge or any theory, even though it disproved the original.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. It didn't
definitely
disprove
matters that
it. It
it was
lent
famous.
evidence against the original.
Exactly, yeah. Adds to the body of work, yeah.
Just a really interesting insight into how hard it is to replicate these sorts of studies and why it's so important to keep talking about and keep revisiting this sort of stuff, Max.
Can I give a shout out?
That is what I've got for
Thank
you.
you. Mark from Kenmore for subscribing and Seamus from Currumbin. Thank you very much. Keep those subscriptions coming. We've got 7, you reckon, Peter, so far?
I think so.
8 more to go before, so we don't have to do the motor app this week.
Oh, really? Is that the prize?
It's my prize.
My gift to Peter.
Yes.
If you will.
Are you under 18 or a pet? Well, you can subscribe for just $25 this Radiothon and maybe win a prize. Our under 18 subscriber prize is an electric guitar pack from Woods Music, which has everything you need to start playing the guitar. Our pet prize is Cube 20 Aquarium from Atlas Aquariums in Nunda. It even comes with a $100 voucher so you can fill it with fish so that your pet can have a pet. Head to 4zzz.org.au and subscribe.
So you tune into 4ZZZ. And the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Peta, we've got Gabe, and it's Radiothon, so it's part 3 of this. An American stats professor, Steve Selvin, posed and also provided the solution to the controversial Monty Hall problem back in 1975. And it goes something like this. Suppose you're a contestant on a game show and you were given the choice of 3 doors to open. Behind one door is a car. Behind the other 2 are goats. As a contestant...
Hit it!
Hell yes.
As a contestant, you pick, say, door number 1, and the host, who knows what is behind each of the doors, opens another door, let's say door 3. Thank you, Gavin from Beachmere, which has a goat behind it. The host then asks, would you like to change your choice of door? To your advantage to switch, Issy?
It's
It's counterintuitive.
It is counted. Yeah. It is, what, 50-50?
It's it's
Around
right.
that,
Because
yeah.
what happens is, as a contestant, you should always choose the other door because statistically speaking, the switching strategy has a 66% chance of winning the car, while the strategy of keeping your initial choice still stays at 33% because you got 1 and 3 choice, and then you got only a choice between 2 doors.
Yeah.
So it has to. The problem only works if the host must always open a door that was not selected by the contestant. The host must always open a door to reveal a goat and never the car, and the host must always offer the contestant a chance to switch doors. Gabe?
Yeah, it's very weird, but it's essentially like when they eliminate one for you, you're left with, when you pick 1 out of 3, you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right.
Correct.
If they then eliminate a door for you, there's a 2 in 3 chance that either of the other 2 that you haven't picked are right. So if they eliminate one, then there's there's still a 2 in 3 chance that it's the one you need to flip to, because it's just one of those things that you just plays with your mind.
It does, yeah. Because
you got that trying to make this decision, and that we get this. Humans have this innate drive not to be made a fool of.
Yes.
And so if you switch and get it wrong, it's almost like a worse feeling than the goodness of switching and getting it right.
Yeah, exactly.
So people are trying to avoid that make it be made a fool of as much as they try and get the good outcome.
Anyway, check it out. It's called the Monty Hall problem. It's pretty good. It's fun. I like how absurd it is that you do have to change. Because if you run it 100 times, you're always going to win the car more times than not. So that's all.
Nice.
Any more prizes?
It is Radiothon. Let me give you some prizes. We are up to 8 subscribers. Sorry, I've been slacking. As we heard earlier, for your under 18s, which only costs you about as much as a pet, $25, you can go in the running for a Woods Music Guitar Pack, which is an electric guitar pack with a Fenty Mustang headphone amp, a Affinity Stratocaster, and 3 months worth of online lessons as well, and a professional guitar setup as well. So very many prizes for many different folks. If nothing that you have heard on air is to your liking, jump on the website. We've got more options than I could probably list out without taking too much time. But most importantly, that warm inner glow. And if you haven't subscribed, if you subscribed this time last year, it's time to renew as well. Exactly. You got a year. So get on it, 4ZZZ.org.au/support.
Subscribe this Radiothon and you could win Felon's Year of Beer, gets you 24 cases of their Australian Pale Ale, plus some sweet merch. Princess Golden Ticket, that gets you and a friend into every show at the Princess for a year. A 12-month membership to Urban Climb, or a summer swag pack from Crumpler, which includes a limited edition and special made in Melbourne bag. Head to 4ZZZ.org.au and subscribe.
We had Karen from Salisbury subscribe, and we had Charlie from Norman Park.
Whoop, whoop.
Job done.
Job done.
You tune into 4ZZZ. Show's No Idea, your weekly dose of science with me, Max, Issy, Peta, Gabe. Do you want the weird science intro, Issy?
Yes, please.
Subscribe. Part 4. Hit us up.
Well, Max, not only is today our special Radiothon show, but also today is the public holiday for the Eka show.
Okay.
So I feel like it's fitting to discuss this study that I found. It was published in the Cambridge University Epidemiology and Infection, Volume 4, Issue 3, journal, in June 1975. QS ranking for Cambridge, please.
2.
Oh, 2.
3.
6.
Oh, really?
Close-ish.
They're one of the ones that dropped a couple.
They did drop a little bit.
Yeah.
So, as many kids take off today's day of school, or for my siblings, apparently it's 3 days, so now I have to babysit them. We're going to delve into this study called Warmth and Comfort in the Subtropical Winter, a study in Brisbane schools. This one is really interesting, especially with its methodology, because it compares Aussie Brisbane schools, subtropical, to English schools, as given in Cambridge. So this is really interesting in understanding maybe nowadays we wouldn't really compare these two completely different countries because it is harder to generalize, but they talked about some really interesting points, such as variable comfortability, and they took a sample of 6,000 assessments of children, so primary and secondary schools in Queensland relating to air temperature. And this had a really interesting conclusion. I also love there is a section that talks about how, what ways can we increase comfort for children? And this is really indicative of the era. They said children can layer up or the teacher can close a window. That is the conclusion that they drew, an official conclusion. But they found that the learning conditions in a mid-latitude English winter tend to produce heat stress, which is surprising, whilst those in subtropical southeast Queensland produces cold stress during the winter. So English schools tend to warm up a little faster than Aussie schools, which are designed, of course, to release heat, not trap it.
Yeah.
So I looked around and had to look to see if there's any modern equivalents of this study. And there are. Of course, people are studying, what if we use cooling roofs or if we use solar panels for air conditioning. And I would say there is a little bit more kind of health consciousness around this topic, ensuring that children do not overheat and children do not freeze in the winters. Right. But of course, there is much more of a climate focus than in 1975.
Yeah, where you just had to harden up.
Where you just literally did have to harden up. And I think nowadays we would not compare Brisbane to Cambridge in scientific studies. But I did like the scale of thermal sensations that they established. They gave each child a numeric value.
Self-assessment, love it.
Self-assessment from much too cool to much too warm, which is what you might feel when you subscribe to 4ZZZ. So that...
Excuse me, teacher, it is much too
warm. It is much too warm.
I'm afraid I simply must go back outside.
So if you want to feel much too warm, 4ZZZ.org.au/support for some warm inner glow. Hopefully you are not a freezing English or Brisbane child in 1975.
We're going to thank Corey from Tarragindi for subscribing. We're up to 11, Peter.
Hell yes.
I might have to forego the motor app this week. Keep subscribing. Let's do it.
It's our 50th birthday radiothon. Help us celebrate 50 years in your ears by subscribing at 4ZZZ.org.au.
You tuned into 4ZZZ. It's Radiothon. Where are we up to? About 12 so far? Peter, who's doing the count?
So far.
12.
It was 11.
11, okay.
Oh, we 12?
Yeah.
I thought it was 11.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Unless we got one more.
Just keep it
and I
going.
didn't notice.
It's all right. Yeah,
Just keep it rolling.
And look, you got to subscribe to keep us alive. I like that saying. Yeah, 50 years alive.
50 years in your ears, baby.
Gabe, hit us up.
Max, I was trawling through some advanced Google searches of newspaper clippings from 1975 to try and find some science stories.
Was this Gemini doing it for you? Or?
No, this is
human.
my own fingertips. Hard at work.
Yeah.
And I came across this thing in The Age on the 22nd of January 1975, which is written by quoting Dr. Peter Pockley, who was
great name.
Yeah, and one of the main drivers behind establishing ABC's science unit, and was a mentor to people like Robin Williams, who's now the host of the Science Show on RN, and has been a science broadcaster for decades.
Yeah.
So he has this. He's quoted in this column where he's telling scientists to get ostrich heads out of the sand. And the whole column is having a crack at the Australian science community for not communicating its science well enough.
Really?
That's the whole column. And it's like there's so many parallels to reading this and reading stuff today. Just it's worded a bit more eloquently in this than anything we'd see written today. Yeah. He says there have simply been too few scientists and too few scientific organisations really prepared to put their practical and effective support where their mouth has been on this issue of public communications. And had a crack at the scientific community at a conference, a major symposium with scientists at it, and said scientists were too damn serious when they presented themselves and their results, and far too imbued with authority and status. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, because the very end, the last sentence of this column is he said there was a wonderful opportunity for this in the new field of community broadcasting in Australia. That is the end of that article, is him basically saying we should be hearing much more frequently and much more clearly the voices of leading scientists within the government area who are working, working so effectively and recognised by their fellows as being such leaders in their fields, and says the new field of community broadcasting should be the space for that. And 50 years later, here we are, Max, on a community broadcasting science show on 4ZZZ.
And not taking it too seriously.
And not taking it too damn serious.
I don't think anyone who's ever listened to this show would accuse us of taking it too seriously. Yes.
I thought it was fantastic and such a
great
cool thing to
segue.
find on this week, this Radiothon show of ours, our one show where we go full subscriber mode to try and keep ourselves and 4ZZZ on air for another year.
Exactly.
What are the options, Max?
Okay, if you go to our ZZZ website, so 4zzz.org.au /support. If you're under 18, I know you're listening because you're at home today from school.
Yes.
$25 annual fee. Pets, $25. Concession, $40. Full, $80. Passionate, $140. Super sub, $500. If you're a solo artist, it's $85. If you're a band, it's $160. If you're a business, it's $160. And if you're a household, it's $300. And there's various prizes that go along with those tiers.
Yes, there are. All right, for the individuals, we have a Triffid Gold ticket, the Princess Theatre 5-star cinema gold ticket, Brisbane Festival golden ticket, a Netherworld game cabinet, a year of non-alcoholic beer, Felon's Year of Beer, that is alcoholic, the Tagaluma Island Resorts, the West End Electric... Rudely interrupted. VIP package, Crumpler Summer Pack, and the Urban Climb 12-month membership. There's also individual prizes for your businesses, your pet subs, which gets an aquarium bundle, your household, which gets a 4,000 records merch pack, and so many more. So if you want to head there, remember these are annual subscriber prizes. So if you do a little bit of maths, that comes to a couple of cents every listen almost for an entire year. So you don't have to. This isn't monthly or anything. You sub and you forget, and you get that warm inner glow. 4ZZZ.org.au/support. Let's keep hitting that baby harp seal, or in the case of our station manager, hitting our station manager, to spread that warm inner glow and keep us on the air for hopefully another 50 years.
Okay, I'm going to acquiesce, Peter. I'm happy. We've got 12 subscribers. That's close enough to 15.
Hell yes. Yeah, we can round up.
That was Xavier from Palmwoods, by the way. Thanks, Xavier, for that.
Thank you, Xavier. My saviour.
Community radio, baby.
We're going to thank Bruce from Corinda for subscribing. We've got Sam from Orderly for subscribing, and Xavier from Palmwoods. Thank you very much. You're tuning to 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max, Issy, Gabe, and our friendly neighbourhood marine scientist. What do you got for us, Peter, in lieu of motor rap?
Me. Oh. In lieu of motor rap, I've got something really good for you. So, when it comes to marine science in 1975, a couple of major things happened. Now, these aren't necessarily big scientific findings, but they're big things that happened in the oceans in 1975. Okay. The first one was that Jacques Cousteau released his breakout film, 500 Million Years of Life Beneath the Sea, which got a lot of people very interested in the ocean. The next one is that the Great Barrier Reef moved from state control to federal and became a marine protected area with the Great Barrier Reef Marine Parks Act of 1975. Federal government stepped in and went, hey, yo, this is important, we're going to protect it. And it was a great decision. We love our Great Barrier Reef. And there's one more thing. There's one more major thing that has had immeasurable impacts on our global oceans ever since. And it's not a baby harp seal. Does anyone have any guesses?
Something that happened to the oceans in 1975.
That affected the oceans in 1975.
Was it another subscriber?
Everyone loves marine science.
Yes. Oh, Max is being too successful.
Motor rap is
Motor rap's dead on the ground.
Yes, it is. What happened to the ocean that affected the oceans?
What major thing happened that affected the ocean in 1975?
Oh, that's so general.
Everyone think out loud. It's not a think in your own head thing.
Clue what it could be.
No idea. It could be anything.
I can tell you one hint is that a thing came out. Something was released that affected the oceans.
Congratulations.
I've got it. I've clocked on.
Have you?
100%.
Like an eruption, a volcanic eruption underwater.
Nah.
What about this?
How about a volcanic release?
It was Jaws. The film Jaws was released in 1975. Steven.
Congratulations to them for coming out.
Congratulations to sharks. We always knew it.
Yes.
And even though the film Jaws is beloved, and I'm sure cinematically, if I was to take a purely film-based look at it, I would be like, wow, what a masterpiece. Obviously, it was a huge deal.
It is.
It's taken a real toll on sharks.
It has.
It's been it's been a real PR crisis for sharks. For a large portion of fish in the sea, it's been a real issue. And partially, this is because in 1975, marine scientists, we didn't really know much about sharks. Marine science was just in its infancy, really. We only knew little bits about things. And so they couldn't really defend them against this idea that they were monstrous killing machines. They didn't know that much. They were like, I don't know. I mean, I guess they've got big teeth and they're sharp, so... there wasn't much information.
And they look angry all the time.
I disagree with that. I think white sharks look a little upset. They look flustered. But there's lots of sharks that don't. Have you ever seen a thresher shark? They just look I would say the majority of sharks look anxious. They look worried about a test or something. They're like, yes.
That's why they're underwater.
I hear from That's from a marine scientist, friends. You can quote me on that one. Yeah. So in the years since the film, and again, I'm Debbie Downer today, but things have been bad in the oceans over the last 50 years. In the years since the film, shark populations globally have plummeted by more than 70%, and 1/3 of shark and ray species are threatened with extinction. Now, climate change, pollution, and habitat destruction are all large issues for sharks, but the number one issue is overfishing, which has driven the decline of 90% of shark species. These insane numbers. I know we get used to things in our day and age of everything being bad and oh my god, could it get worse? This is really, really crazy numbers. Humans have majorly affected sharks. And while shark fishing definitely existed before Jaws, the way the film changed global perceptions of sharks has definitely played a role. Because to draw a comparison, people didn't actually used to like whales, believe it or not. Whaling was a huge thing globally, and people didn't really like them. They just sort of thought they were huge, ugly things running around the ocean. They weren't majestic creatures that we go, oh my god, look, a whale. People were like, oh, a whale.
And they had similar PR issues.
They had similar PR issues.
Like Moby Dick, where there were, killer whales that were going to come and hunt you down as you went sailing from country to country.
Take your boat out.
Yeah, sperm whales are apparently going to hurt your boat somehow. But since at their PR upgrade, we've been able to save a lot of them from extinction. The humpback whales, we've brought back to 40,000, and that's partially because people love them and they see value in saving them. So today, I want to do my bit to give you some fun facts about sharks. Go back to the last 50 years.
Yes.
Okay. Sharks have survived on planet Earth for 400 million years.
Really?
And they've used the time, in my opinion, very well, evolving into some amazing creatures. Firstly, there's the whale shark, which is the ocean's biggest fish. That's a reminder, by the way, that sharks are fish. They're just really cool fish. I don't think people often think of them as fish, but they are. They're fish. The Greenland shark is not only the longest living fish, but the longest living vertebrate with an average lifespan of 272 years.
Really?
Average!
Okay.
Average! The oldest one I think they had was 570, and they said they were fairly sure about that, plus or minus 120 years.
Wow.
Big variance.
I wonder what
They're
the
not
secret
entirely
is.
Sure. It's hard to age a shark, It's not like you ask it, when was your birthday?
Yeah.
Pretty difficult
All
to
sorts
figure
of
it out.
forged birth certificates going on.
Difficult. So some sharks lay eggs. This is called oviparous. Some sharks have live births like we do. That's called viviparous. And then some do a little of both, called ovoviviparous. And do not ask me how it works. It's a little different in every species from what I know, and it's a bit in reality.
Right.
But yeah, lots of cool different ways that sharks reproduce. They do reproduce quite slowly. Most sharks are longer-lived species. So a white shark, the famous white shark, can live to about 70 years old, and they won't start mating really until their middle age. So that all of this plays into why they're in trouble as well. Because a lot of them are long-lived and they don't mate until they're older, it means that they have a harder time keeping up their population when they're getting fished so intensively. One of my favourite things about sharks is called the ampullae of Lorenzini. Does anyone know what these are? Have I talked about these before?
The electroreceptors.
They are electroreceptors.
Cool.
Yeah.
So some shark and ray species have these small little dots all over their face. It looks like, you know, when people are like, oh my God, my paws are so huge. Oh no, my paws. It's that, except way, like, it's bad.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Sharks have a paw problem. You can see it from a mile away.
Yeah.
And the reason they have that is that there's these little small electromagnetic receptors in their face that they can, like, sense electromagnetic fields. It was first seen, though not understood, about 100 years ago in 1932, when this guy in, I think it was Sweden again, actually, lots of Swedish people in my stories today, had a shark in a tank and it had a negative reaction to a rusty wire.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, that's weird. So he blindfolded the shark, which I think is a
That's
odd
crazy.
thing to do generally. And then it still had the reaction to the wire. It could tell when the wire was there. But this guy just kind of went, oh, that's weird, wrote it down, didn't do anything about it. Just was like, cool. And it wasn't investigated further until all the way in 1971.
5. Nice.
Sorry.
Oh, that was great.
Well, yeah, I got really excited when I read it. It was wrong. Another scientist tested whether sharks could sense live prey animals. And what they did is they had these animals like crabs and I think some little fish and stuff in protective cases so the sharks couldn't see them, couldn't hear them, couldn't smell them. The only way they could sense if these things were there were through their bioelectric fields, and they could sense them. They would like sniff around the boxes and try and figure out how to get the thing inside. And the reason they have this, by the way, from like the reason we think they do this is because sharks love murky waters. They really like, and because they can do this, they like murky waters. They like places where they can't see and can't be seen because they have this extra ability to sort of sense the bioelectric fields of things. So if there's a little a little crab underneath the sand, they can sense it. So they don't need to be able to see it necessarily. So that's cool. And lastly, I want to talk about their famous jaws. You have probably heard about sharks' teeth, probably because of how they get hyped, or because they sort of legitimately look weird, or because I've talked about them before, because it's the only thing that we have of sharks in the fossil record, because they don't have any bones, but they have loads of teeth, so many teeth. They drop teeth everywhere, and so we will find evidence of sharks in the fossil record through their teeth. Sharks continuously grow teeth, and they replace them very, very often. It's an evolution I think many creatures on the planet could probably be jealous of, especially while dentistry isn't covered in Medicare. I would love that. Essentially what happens is they have all these teeth ready so that when one degrades or even just wears down so it's not as sharp, they just immediately replace it with another tooth that they have been growing. And I was reading about this, and one of the guys who studies this said something that we don't even talk about very often is that their teeth are made up of the exact same materials that ours are. Like, it's not like they're a different type of thing. We just somehow, they decided, hey, maybe we should regrow them, and no one else thought to do that.
Damn.
Why are we only doing it twice? That's ridiculous. I want more teeth. I'm tired of having to go to the dentist and getting fillings in my stupid teeth that I can't regrow.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to regrow teeth. I don't necessarily want it to look like a shark.
You just want to switch that gene on that says, grow a new set of teeth.
Grow a new one in its place, because shark teeth are like a conveyor belt. I'm sure you've probably seen the photos where it's like one set of teeth, and then it goes another set of teeth, another set of teeth, and it goes backwards into their mouth, and they get smaller. It's like a factory. And essentially when one is ditched, there's a new one right behind it, ready to take its place. In some sharks, like nurse sharks, an entire set of teeth can be renewed in just 9 days.
Really?
9 days!
That's
Imagine
cool.
having all your teeth renewed in 9 days. And the famous white shark, it would probably be a minimum of 250 days. So they've probably had their teeth for a little while. And one of the reasons for this conveyor belt, why would they do this, is because a lot of their prey, sharks will eat things like snails or crabs, which specifically grow hard out of shells. And why would they grow hard out of shells, Gabe?
The crabs?
Crabs, snails, anything that grows hard out of shell. Why are they doing it?
As a defense and structure.
Yeah. As a defense structure from being eaten to make themselves harder to eat. And so sharks went, well, if I keep having really sharp teeth, I'll be able to eat them anyway. So it's one of those things in evolution where they're both racing, like harder shells versus sharper teeth. And so they make these really sharp teeth, and then essentially because these hard shells will wear down teeth, like if you were gnawing on rocks all day, your teeth would grind down too. They make more teeth. If you want to learn more about sharks, I've gone through a few things of sharks. I could go on all day, really, about lots of little cool things about sharks. Oh, I'm going to throw in one more. My favourite shark is the thresher shark. The thresher shark has a tail, which is the same length as its body, and it uses it like a whip to stun prey.
Nice.
They go up to prey, and they go, over their heads, they go, wha-pow, with their tail, and then their prey is stunned, and then they go and eat it. But if you want to learn more about sharks, generally, or just like even just see more of them and sort of get yourself habituated to sharks being in our oceans, I highly recommend downloading the Shark Tracker app onto your phone. This was the app that got me interested in sharks. When I was a kid, I used to follow this one muckle shark around the world for like 4 years. I was tracking this one shark. I think his name was Einstein. And he used to swim off the east coast of the Americas. He was amazing. One day I did find him, he like swam across the channel or something, or he might have gone fishing. Anyway, go find a shark and track it and learn about your shark because they're really cool. The end of this is essentially that the release of Jaws was a global phenomenon, and while we can all admit that it changed cinema, it has also changed our oceans, and maybe not in the best way. But maybe, if we take a positive spin, it inspired a whole new generation of shark scientists who are more than ready to clear their name.
Brilliant.
That's what I got for
We're
you.
going to thank Louise from Palmwoods for subscribing.
Thanks, Louise.
Get
Thanks,
onto the
Louise.
website or ring up on 073252 1555. Let's subscribe. I think we're up to about 17 subscriptions already. Oh, wait a sec.
Oh, another one.
The most common turtle in Meanjan's brown snake is the Hemidura macquarie signata, also known as the short-necked turtle. They've got an average life expectancy of 50 years, meaning that 4ZZZ has now outlived the turtles that inhabited the river when we first started. Help us outlive the next generation of turtles by heading to 4zzz.org.au and subscribing.
You're tuning to 4ZZZ. The show's No Idea. It's Radiothon. Get onto it. Get on the website. We had a couple of subscribers during that song. Thank you very much. The show is No Idea. Science show. Gabe, what do you got for us?
I got for you, Max, because we're doing 50 years of Z, the 50th birthday of Triple Z on Radiothon, where we asked for subscriptions to keep us on air for the next year. We're going back to 1975, 50 years ago, for science that was going on then. And there were Nobel Prizes that came out in 1975, and one of them went to an Australian.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It did indeed. This Nobel Prize for Chemistry was shared between two people, one being John Walkup Cornforth, and one being Vladimir Prelog.
Very Australian.
I was wondering where you're heading with that one.
Yeah, well, Vladimir was born in what was then called Yugoslavia.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And John Cornforth was born in Australia. And so there, I got to read you this quote from the media release from 75, talking about Cornforth's prize for chemistry. It's on work about stereochemistry of enzyme catalyzed reactions. And to quote the release, this subject is difficult to explain to the layman, as it is a question of geometry in 3 dimensions. It is concerned with the delicate mechanism of important reactions in biological systems, where a group of atoms takes the place of a certain hydrogen atom amongst 2 or 3 which may appear to be equivalent. Did you get that?
No.
Yeah, actually.
I don't know what's going on.
It's work into stereochemistry is the physical 3-dimensional structure of molecules and how they react.
Which is very important, actually.
Yeah.
The structure is almost equivalent to what they can do. Like, it's something that you learn very early in chemistry is shape is everything. Shape is everything. Obviously, there's also the particles and the power and the change, blah, 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 all of that stuff. But shape is what you learn. It's like, does this shape fit with this shape? Does this number fit with this number? Things like that. And shape is just so huge, especially when you go into, if you go into university or even some grade 12 level chemistry, you'll learn about cloud theory in making your atoms. And that is when you move from that like concentric circle diagram to, you need to use 3D now, because we're talking about 3D shapes. 3D shapes are super important in chemistry. So it doesn't surprise me that they're talking about how you have to really talk about this in the 3D. You can't talk about it in 2 dimensions. It's just not possible. You don't really get a good grip of chemistry unless you can think accurately in 3D.
According to UNSW, who I don't think is I don't think he was associated with UNSW. I think he was based in UCID, but they have a little
divisive.
Yeah, they have a little write-up on him. Some of his other work included being a chemist at Oxford during the Second World War, where he worked on penicillin. So he was
one of those guys.
Work to be able to synthesize D-penicillamine, an important fragment of the penicillin, there it is, molecule, and a major step in preparation for its mass production. He was also deaf for the majority of his adult life. which included the work that led to that Nobel Prize, which is a pretty extraordinary achievement to be able to have such a established career as a chemist, a Nobel Prize-winning chemist, across in Sydney and over in the UK. That was the Nobel Prize. There was also a Nobel Prize handed out for physics in the year, Max, which went to a combination of researchers, including the son of Niels Bohr.
Physics, what is it all about? That's what I know about physics.
But yeah, Nobel Prize in chemistry for an Aussie in 1975. That's what I got for you, Max.
You're listening to 4ZZZ during our annual Radiothon. Have you subscribed yet? Head to 4zzz.org.au and subscribe today.
Subscribe because it's Radiothon.
It is Radiothon.
No idea. We got 19 subs so far.
Yes, we do.
We had a super sub.
We did. So all the lights in the station all were blinking at the same time. So special thank you to our super sub as well.
My name's Max. We got Issy talking.
Hello.
We got Peta. We got Gabe.
Yes,
yeah. People loving the show. I guess they want to keep it going. We'll see what happens. Yeah. What were we trying for? 30 today?
Oh,
in the 30s is what we're aiming for.
Yes.
We'll pull our weight to keep, just keep the science show on 4ZZZ and keep 4ZZZ running.
Exactly, for another 50 years.
The airwaves.
Yeah.
For another 50 years.
Imagine us doing it. I'll be dead. You'll be like 80, won't you, Gabe? So
we'll import your voice into AI and we'll just keep Max rolling.
Transcendent.
It is what Max would have wanted. So if you would like to join the legion of subscribers that we've been farming all throughout this show, 4ZZZ.org.au/support. And I have some stats here for you, Max.
Beautiful, we love stats.
It costs more than $85 an hour to keep 4ZZZ on air.
Yeah.
So how much for 2 hours? That's what? $170 to keep our silly air.
I'm quick, aren't I?
Yes. To keep us on air.
Yeah.
So that's $85 an hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, because we never sleep. We never do.
Sleep. 24 hours.
One full subscription would support an hour of radio. If you do a full sub, $80, that's less than $7 a month and about $1.50 a week.
Really?
So do that quick maths. They are annual subscriptions, so you don't have to worry about renewing them every month. If you head to 4ZZZ.org, there are different tiers for different folks, including a pay it forward as well, if you want to be generous. And you're more than welcome to buy for other people. So if you're thinking about a last minute gift, this is a fantastic time because we do have prizes. Folks, is there anything that we are fiending for? Because I know one, and it is that 5-star cinema golden ticket that I will continue for the next 50 years. Put as my Radiothon prize for as long as it is being offered because I want it so bad.
I generally go for the beer. Is that Felon's
It
beer?
is the Felon's Year of Beer.
That's right.
Year of beer. 24 cases of Felon Australian Pale Ale. If you're wondering what makes No Idea sparkle, it is mostly a lot of beer.
Definitely.
Gabe?
Yeah, well, there's just so many prizes. When you subscribe, you pick one of the prizes, you go into the running to win that. That's true on at the end of radio.
That's after you select our show as the best show on 4ZZZ.
And you do.
And you definitely do that.
We definitely do.
Wow, I love No Idea. Uncancelable. Keep it on air.
Yes.
Not a fan of the motor rap, but I still listen to No Idea. Yeah.
That's right. There's prizes for under 18s, prizes for over 18s. It includes AS accounting services. It includes Tangalooma Resort package.
That's my one.
It includes beer. It includes non-alcoholic
There's
drinks.
some
It
music
includes
ears,
vinyl.
which I was very interested in, getting fitted for special ears to help your audio health.
Yeah.
Which I'm very interested in as someone who has tinnitus running in the family.
You can get some guitar lessons or something?
Guitar lessons for the under 18s, for your solo artists as well. I do like the AS accounting services always comes through with their $1,021 worth of accounting, 102.1.
Nice. As well, just before taxes due.
Yes, of course.
12-month membership. There's so much stuff.
There is so much.
If you have subscribed to 4ZZZ before, this is often the time where it's up for renewal. So this is the right time to do it. It goes to supporting such an incredible service that is 4ZZZ Community Radio, and you go into the running to win all these prizes.
And folks, don't forget, it's our 50th year. It is our birthday. It would be quite rude. And also, we have gigs coming up to celebrate our 50th in the lead up to our birthday in December. So with gigs, with being a subscriber, you get discounted tickets as well.
You do. So
if anything,
money,
start saving that money now.
Yeah.
Bank it towards your subscribe, and then you get to save on those tickets further down the line. We have so much in store for our 50th. So it would just be rude to not bring a card to the party, okay?
There's
and
a
that card better
Netherworld's
be a sub
game
card.
cabinet up here.
Yes, there is.
Love Netherworld.
Crazy.
Love Netherworld.
So 4ZZZ.org.au/support. We will not let you forget it. Trust me. We have been pushing. It's our annual subscriber drive, so get with it.
Everyone at the station knows which show's the most appreciated. It's obviously this one. Uncancelable. That's what I love to say about us. Everything we do, everything we say, everything we've ever put online, uncancelable.
Yeah. Hey, it's Radiothon. If you haven't subscribed, you should do it now. Go to the website 4ZZZ.org.au/support.
You're tuned to 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Peta, we've got Gabe. We've got to thank Toby from Pillar Valley for subscribing. Get on it. It's time for this No Idea Space News. Sky Aurora, this might be interesting to you, Issy, has become the first British company to secure a licence to launch a rocket from the United Kingdom. The UK Civil Aviation Authority has granted Scotland-based Sky Aurora a licence for up to 16 launches per year from Saxavord Spaceport, located on the Shetland Islands off the coast of Scotland. Have you been there at all?
I have not, but it is on the list of places to go, especially with Shetland ponies. Are you kidding?
It is the first time a vertical launch licence has been granted to a UK-based company. It allows Sky Aurora
Those horizontal launches.
to launch
Hit by rockets left, right, and centre.
they're going to launch their rocket called Skylark L rocket from Saxavord, which has already received a safety licence, apparently. The move is also a step towards Sky Aurora launching its larger orbital rocket, the Skylark XL. A lot of thought went into that. Extra large. Okay.
Yeah, I liked Skylark better.
Do you remember that in Georgia, there was that home where the meteorite went through the ceiling and came and hit on the floor, and they collected some fragments of this meteorite. Sure. Now, a scientist from the University of Georgia, QS ranking,
50.
The country or the state in America?
Then
340.
400.
That's Michaela from New Farm. Thank you. Yeah, 525. Nice. Anyway, that meteorite was examined by this person from the University of Georgia, and it appears to be older than the Earth itself. How freaky is that?
Whoa.
How old's Earth?
4.6 million years.
Okay.
Although we did know that things existed before Earth.
True.
So,
yeah.
like, not new knowledge, but cool that it got here.
Yeah, very strange to be in someone's living room.
Yeah.
Anyway, I asked this question last week. How many humans are in space currently?
Wasn't it like 4 or something?
8?
It was around a dozen or so, wasn't it?
It's 4 less than last week.
Oh.
Oh, well then 8.
7.
Easy.
What was it? 8?
There's 10. There's 7 on the
That's a bit
ISS
mortifying.
and 3 on the Chinese space station. Okay, you got to subscribe. It's Radiothon. We're up to 21 subscribers. We're going all right. If you want to subscribe, get onto our website at 4ZZZ.org.au/support.
You're listening to 4ZZZ during our annual Radiothon. Have you subscribed yet? Head to 4ZZZ.org.au and subscribe today.
You're tuning to 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Peta, Gabe. 50 years of science. What do you got for me?
50 years of science. Max, well, you put together a bit of a curation.
I did.
4ZZZ's been around for 50 years now, pumping out community radio across Brisbane and the surrounds, and you went through and was like, okay, what are some of the top science moments that have happened in the past 50 years? We've done 75. That was the whole show. What happened after then?
Well,
76 pictures from
76.
other planets.
Yeah, started
NASA's
arriving.
Mars Viking probe.
Yeah.
77, Peter's going to love.
I'm going to do 77. 77 was when we first discovered deep sea life in rich ecosystems surrounding deep sea hydrothermal vents along the Galapagos Rift. These hydrothermal vents essentially changed how we view life on Earth and what we need to have life.
Yes.
78, Max?
Oh, test tube babies. The first baby conceived in vitro fertilisation. It was done in England, apparently.
Yeah, I was one of the first rounds in New Zealand.
Gotcha.
I'm one of those kids.
Yeah. 1980, they thought smallpox was the end of it. We thought we eradicated it.
And we should.
Yeah.
And we should.
Yeah.
But have not.
No.
I can do 1983.
Yeah.
HIV was identified by French doctors. Isolated it, isolate the virus that causes AIDS. We also had Evo Devo is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I guess.
Researchers University of Basel and Indiana University independently discover homobox DNA sequences between genes to help lead the evolutionary development. Evo Devo.
Yeah.
Studies.
Evo Devo.
Yes, Evo Devo, Evo Devo.
Yeah.
84.
84 Nobel Prize. Which is awarded later, but for work on PCR, polymerase chain reaction techniques for DNA analysis. 85, there was a big nanotech breakthrough. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. You can write it.
Buckminster fullerene.
Created by Robert Curl, Harold Kroto, and Richard Smalley. 86, Europe's Giotto mission observes Halley's Comet up close.
Oh, really?
For
That
the
would have been,
first time.
okay. Cool.
Also, high temperature superconductors. That's sick. That was a big thing.
Yeah. And then we fast forward to 94, and we witnessed a cosmic crash. A comet Shoemaker Levy 9 smashes into Jupiter during one of the most widely watched astronomical events of the century, apparently. And quantum computing started too.
Wow, what a big year.
I'm going to jump forward to keep us moving. 96, my birth year.
Dolly the sheep.
Ah, that's
Still
good.
looking as pretty as ever when I saw her last year.
Yeah.
97.
Yeah. Keep going. We've got 4
Seven
minutes.
Mars's Pathfinder lands on Mars. 98.
My birth year.
Yeah.
Dark energy.
The expansion of the universe is accelerating.
With the birth of me.
With the birth and dark energy discoveries. Where are we going to? Let's jump to 2001.
Yeah.
Human genome technically decoded. We had most of the human genome sequenced from the Human Genome Project.
Yes.
2005, Titan revealed.
Yes.
The moon of Saturn revealed.
And they got soft tissue from a T-Rex. That's pretty exciting.
That's true, yeah.
Bet they wish they had that when Jurassic Park came out.
Okay, you better sign us out, Gabe. But before that, we're going to thank you. We
got another subscriber.
Last minute.
Bruce.
On the dot.
Bruce
from Cooperoo. We've got to thank Louise from Palmwoods, Bruce from Corinda, Sam from Elderly, Xavier from Palmwoods, Corey from Tarragindi, Karen from Salisbury, Charlie from Norman Park, Gavin from Beachmere, Mark from Kenmore, Seamus from Currumbin, Kirk from Coolangatta. How cool is that? I'm Kirk from Coolangatta. Helena from Butterham, and Kev from Thornside. Thank you very much. Sign us out, Gabe.
That is all we have time for. Today's show is brought to you by the letter Z and everyone who subscribes to it. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed. In our show and the shows around us, this Radiothon, it's such a powerful use of such a relatively small amount of money, and your subscriptions do legitimately keep us on air and keep science journalism on air in this show. Thank you to your support, and thanks to your support, we'll be back in your ears at the same time next week. Between now and then, try studying underwater for any underwater tests you've got coming up. Show a shark some love. Keep your classrooms warm. After Echo Day, and always remember to switch your Monty Hall door. You can listen back to them on the 4ZZZ.org.au website or on whatever podcasting platform you use to get those stories and all of our previous shows. Just search up No Idea 4ZZZ. That's no other K. Thanks to all of our wonderful subscribers. That's all we've got time for. We'll see you next time.
We'll speak to you
Bye.
next week.
I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.